Okie doke. The Power of Systems Book Club, call 12. So three more calls, fashionably on time, Philip, as always. Here we go. Welcome, Philip. Yeah, call 12. So three more calls after this week. 3 more weeks to dial things in. So I've got a fun little exercise that we'll do a little bit later on, which done playfully can just shine a light in some little corners, and potentially reveal a few areas where what we say we want and what we are actually doing day to day may not be aligned. It may also reveal that we are in perfect alignment, and neither is good nor bad, but it can be fun to shine some light on that, particularly with 3 weeks left. So we'll do that a bit later on. I want to start the call with another check-in, like we did last week, with a focus on how the practice of your systems is going. So we've had a chat about some areas in your lives where you're wanting to have some stuff happen. There are some things that you want a few months from now. And I'd love to hear how the practice of that is going. How are you working the systems? What are you creating? Perhaps you'd like to share some systems that you have practiced so well that they've become habit. They're really well integrated into your day to day, and you kind of no longer see it as a system, but just as a part of your day. Perhaps there's one thing you're really stuck on and it's not happening, and you want to bring that to the table and use this space and use the group, work the group as a system to get some clarity on what might be going on there. Maybe there are some wins that you want to share with the group, or there are some systems that you want to share. Karen.
Right, sorry about that phone. Right, so I like to be first. I like to take the pressure off by putting my hand up. Um, Things have not been brilliant this week. I am bored of my life right now. So I'm just going to get that out there. I am bored of going round to that fucking flat, cataloguing bits. I'm bored now. I've done some big wins and now it's the bloody bits. And so I've realised that I've got a system of I need rewards, and when I'm not getting rewards, I get very fed up. And then, of course, this thing about the dance really struck me because, as Izzy will know this, Alan Watts talks about the point of the dance is the dancing. And the point of the music is the music. Otherwise, we just go to a concert for one last crashing chord. I love that. And it isn't all about the end result because that's the final crashing chord. And that it's the way we live our life. And I've been, I think, getting older as well. You sort of really need to make the most of your time. None of us know how long we've got, do they? But so I do dance. I dance. I dance with life. I definitely do that. But the trouble I have is, well, which dance am I dancing? I'm always dancing with life, but it isn't always the one that's going to get the job done. And um, I've noticed that I have a dance of allowing other things to become more important, other people to become more important as well. And when life gets a bit boring, and it is the boring thing, because it isn't, I don't mind hard work, I don't mind dirty work, but boring work, I really have a trouble with. And so I'm off to the next shiny thing just so that I can carry on dancing. So I've noticed that that's a bit of and it's showing loud and clear at the moment because I can't get a nice fix of reward because there's boring things to do first. So yeah. So I think again, that's keeping it front and center in your mind what you want to create. And but I've been, yeah. And a bit like you were saying about I'm not definitely not been aligned at all this last week. So I'd be interested to do the thing later.
Mm, mm, mm. When you say keeping front and center the thing that you want, what are you referring
Oh,
to?
hold on. You're very quiet.
Very, is this better?
Not really.
Not really.
Is it just me?
Your volume's fine, mate. I think it's on your side, Karen.
Oh. Oh, hold on. Oh, so,
Any better? Can you hear that? Okay.
yes, I can. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Um, yeah. No. My question was you said keeping the thing that you want front and center. What is that?
Yeah. Well, in my mind, the thing that I want front and center is I want shot of that flat and I want to just sort out all of the mess that has had to accumulate. Then I want to go full in on my F's, my fun and my focus and my friends and like working
Mm,
in the kind of areas that I want to work in. And yet it's I haven't been this last week at all.
mm,
I've been finding any old excuse to put something else first. Because what I really want to do is just have fun.
mm,
I don't really want any of the rest of it. I don't mind friends, but like at the moment, I just perhaps because I had those years of there was very little fun. Um, I'm still probably a little bit coming down from that.
mm,
But yeah, I just want to have fun.
mm, mm, mm. I've heard you talk about like this week.
Mm.
Are we looking at a current snapshot of time or a longer term pattern of not having fun?
I think there is a longer term pattern, but this week is like really spotlight on it. Yeah.
Mm, mm, mm. I think sometimes when we're in the experience of something, say like this, um, we can zero in on the snapshot and almost kind of re-experience those what you've described as those years where there was a lot of lack of fun, and sometimes we can create what's happening in the moment as perhaps evidence that, oh right, that thing is happening again, it's happening. And I wonder if there's sometimes a distinction where we can remind ourselves that we're experiencing a moment.
Yeah. There was a trigger that sort of reminded me of all of that happened. It was a few weeks ago, but it made me realize that I wasn't as far along as I thought I was in the, like I'm doing great, but it's like a very thin veneer of okay still underneath it a little bit like, "Ooh."
Hmm.
But yeah, I certainly don't want to turn it into a story. Um, and I feel very, very tired at the moment. And that is because I spend too much time on my own and I need people. I'm an extrovert. If I don't, I mean, I like time on my own, don't get me wrong. But if I don't see a lot of people, then I get tired. I need them for energy. And I'm not spending as much time with people as normal because my job's with people and I've put it on I don't do as much as normal because of this. Yeah, that
Hmm.
could be that.
Hmm. Can I throw something out there?
Please do.
Yeah, it's only something that I heard. Just in your language around, it sounded to me like that there was perhaps a sequence of events that you were picturing. I think I heard you say, I want shot of the flat, and then I can focus on my three Fs. Kind of like I've got to do this thing and then I will, or that kind of once I dot 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 I will. So the kind of the putting off of this thing into the future, and I think, and this is only what looks true to me. Like a lot of the tension and kind of internal rub that we feel of a day is how do I put this into words? The putting off of the thing that makes the most sense, the thing that we really are wanting the most. And I'm wondering if you're creating a sequence of events, like I've got to get this done first and then I can focus on this, or if there's a way, if that's the case, of integrating both.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. That is how it feels. And I have in the past gamified doing the flat, and that's worked out quite well. I don't know why I've stopped doing that, but it seems that I need a constant reminder, which is interesting because that means that potentially my clients might also need to be reminded more than once of the same thing. Um, yeah, yeah, it is definitely almost a childhood thing, like tidy your room and then you can watch telly. That is that kind of thing, isn't it? Like you can't have any fun right now. It's bloody great cloud pissing on your head. Yeah, it does feel like that, and it feels there's a heaviness that I feel, which isn't real because nothing. This is air.
Hmm.
But yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can I? Is it okay if I share the sense that I'm getting?
Yes.
I sense that something in you knows what you need right now, and I wonder what would happen to your experience in the moment if you were to plug into that and give yourself permission to almost kind of surrender to that thing that's wanting to happen. And it sounds like that is around connection to other people.
Yeah, I want a week off. I want a week off of the flat. That's what I want. I want a break, bored, and then I can see more people. Yeah, and that's okay to have a break. I didn't think it was okay because like it's costing so much money now. It's ridiculous. But yeah, yeah, my brother, he'd just have to suck it up, wouldn't he? He'd just have to wait because he ain't here doing it. So yeah, it's all right to take a week off, isn't it?
Time off is a system.
It
Taking
is.
taking a break is a system. Sleeping is a system. All of that. Like it it's all a mirror of the natural built-in system of ebb and flow. Like you can't have
Um,
flow without ebb. Rest is where you get you make the growth. Rest is where you integrate what happened during the flow. You see it in the gym. Like you don't build muscle in the gym.
no, it's the day after once you've knackered yourself.
The muscle builds back thicker and stronger when you're resting.
Mm,
You're only tearing it up when you're actually at the gym.
yeah. Yeah, that's a good analogy for me because I used to be a personal trainer back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. I'm taking a week off. Ray. Thank you.
And again, it's that thing that Steve and Trevor are pointing to in the books, like plug into the system of listening to what the body needs, listening to what that knower part in you is gasping for. Give yourself that. Plug into rest as a system, and the so-called psychology cleans itself up. The experience of a lower mood of exhaustion starts to clean itself up.
I have taken a day or two off. Today I took off instead to do decorating. But what I didn't do was I didn't take that time off. I took it off whilst sponging about the fact that I should be doing something else and the guilt, and rather than, like when you're on holiday, like if you're in Greece or something, you don't think, oh, I should be at work right now. You think, yeah, I'm on holiday. I can't do anything. I'm in another country. So I need to be a little bit more, I don't need to do anything. I'm going to just guilt-free take the time I need to get my mojo back. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. And to add to the list of the list of Karen, I didn't know you used to be a PT. I feel like you've metal drummer.
You've done everything. That
Yeah.
was my first job. My first job.
No. Awesome.
Yeah.
The list grows. I love it.
I still haven't decided what I want to do when I grow up. But I'm only 61. Who knows?
Amazing. Is there any more?
No, that's it for now. Thank you.
Awesome. Chris. Oh, you're on mute at the moment.
Thought I unmuted. Sorry about that. It's great to see you all again.
Great to see
Missed you. Missed being here. We'll focus on the system that's working, with the understanding that there are some systems that are most definitely not working. But even so, the system of depersonalization is working. It does not mean that where I feel some stagnation, not stuckness, important distinction, not stuckness, but stagnation in different areas of my life and career. The idea that this is wrong, that it's bad, that it's always this way, that it's a pattern. I don't jive with that anymore. That does not hit for me. Rather, and this goes not just for things that are not working, but also for things that are working. That went well. About me. And I'm reminded of this story about the Chinese farmer with the horse, or I'd have to, I don't want to take our time recalling the entire story, but the whole idea is that it's about the meaning we make of what's going on in any moment of our lives, in any area of our lives. And sometimes there is just no, in fact, probably for me anyway, more often than not, there's no real meaning to be made. And I need to infer nothing about myself, my desires, my commitment, my levels of commitment, when things aren't happening at the rate or tracking at the rate that I would like for them to, progressing. Because I'm also comfortable now sitting in a place where, well, this is just how it is right now, and it'll be different tomorrow, and in the meantime, here today, I'm okay and everything is fine. And by continuing to come back and check in and try to stay present with myself, it's making a difference in how frustrated in a moment like this that I'm experiencing, I would feel. I feel way more grounded than even in the what I'm perceiving as the imperfect nature of how things are.
Hmm. What a great way of putting it. So I'm curious. There's a very palpable energy of calm as well that I'm really feeling through the screen. Um, being in that energy and being in the world in that energy. What are you noticing around you? Perhaps in your work, perhaps in your relationships, professional, personal. What are you noticing in your world?
It goes on. It just goes on. Um, by that I mean, on any day when well, let's say for in a work situation, for example, um, if I was part of a project or a day that was very successful for someone, great. Was my presence there required to make it successful for that person in that time? Not necessarily. Um, I do make an effort to provide value for the people I work with, but it's that thing of just like again, even when things are going well, not taking too much credit for that,
Mm,
because life's going to continue to throw at us what it does. And so that doesn't mean I can't appreciate the moment. It doesn't mean I can't appreciate the view or a feeling of fulfillment.
mm,
But if I dive into those feelings past beyond a certain point, I'm not saying not to acknowledge um, days, times, projects that were successful or conversations that were productive. It's not that we can't feel them and celebrate, but it's always like life will keep moving on. And as I've been able to do that too, then um, the lows don't seem as low.
mm,
It is almost as if there's this healthy bit of compression, emotional compression happening, where um, I can allow things just to be as they are and make the best decisions I can in any moment, even when they're not going my way.
mm, mm,
Understanding I'm doing this because I have to do this. I'm not doing and when things aren't working, I examine maybe there's something I contributed. Maybe there's clearly a flawed system in there, hiding in there somewhere. But I'm saying all this as my share here because there, a few places in this excerpt, uh, like on page 168, in other words, from looking in the head to looking out into the world, and from wrong, bad to not working. Um, um, it comes up numerous times. Actually, in the previous 20 pages or so, I sort of caught up with all of it before I got on the call today. And that really stood out to me because I realized, oh, there is something that's working right now. And this is it.
mm, mm, mm. Two two things are really, really jumping up at me. Um, the word frictionless came up when you described that it goes on, it just moves. That was the visual that I got. It's just this gliding through, this happening of it, experiencing it as frictionless. And what I'm hearing you say, that sort of healthy compression of highs and lows, the kind of, well, um, it's not my fault if it goes wrong. You haven't said these words, but to sort of paraphrase, not my fault if it goes wrong, but also not take the credit for it. This just kind of being. Um, it really reminds me of a quote from Julian Large, who's a jazz guitarist, and he's
Yeah.
talking about. I'll pull the quote up. When I first read it, I read it at just the right time I needed it, and it really hit me. Um, let's see if I can find it quickly. Here we go. So he said we would talk about reviews, getting a review on a record. I never really read any of them. If I take the good, I also have to take the bad. I have to believe that this is accurate and helpful. And since I'm a student of this music, I've always felt it most important to cultivate my own ability to gauge how things are going.
There you go.
And so what I took from that is just like this kind of um, moving on from a place of requiring some kind of external validation. He's got his own gauge of how things are going on.
Right.
He's got his own grounding. Um, and what you shared got me thinking around that, you know, how much friction can be created when we require compliments, or we require validation, we require that consistent acknowledgement of like, yes, you've played a massive role in this was pivotal, and how much the ego gets fed from that, but actually how much friction gets created, and how we relate to people and how we interact with them completely shifts. It completely changes when we
Mhm.
need something from them.
Right. Right. Sometimes too, when we get the sense that they need something from us, but it isn't, we know it's not required.
Mm.
Um, I'm thinking of a time recently where I was at a session and working with the artist. Maybe I have a lot of these conversations, stories get shared. I hope I haven't shared this one already, but it makes what you just said made me think of it, where um, in this um, sped up world of the entertainment industry and personalities in the entertainment industry and the music industry, working with an artist, and at some it was we were doing our thing. It was going well. And at one point, about a few hours into it, I said to her, during a moment where the two of us were in the control room together by ourselves, I said, "No, by the way," I said, "You're really good at what you do, and I'm really glad to be here with you, uh, supporting you in that. It's really great. Thank you for having me today." And she exhaled and said, "Oh, I thought I couldn't tell if you were enjoying it. I was all saying, I can't do it. Good job." I said, "No, no, no." I said, "I'm didn't mean for you to get that impression, but um, I'm just quiet." And that's it. And and sometimes I think I'm aware too in situations where we're working with the music, especially, when you sense that like people are craving that sort of validation from us too. And there's definitely a time and a way to present it, to offer it in a way of offering it. But I also think that we pick our moments when it's going to be most impactful, rather than, "Oh, you're great, man, love the stuff, I'm so good," um it so happened we had a moment, and it occurred to me in that moment to reach out and offer what would have, to me, was a more truthful expression of how I was feeling, not saying stuff because you have to say stuff. um that was a sidebar. Here's one more thing though, Will. I want to make it very clear that when I talk about this emotional compression, that I do feel joy.
Mm.
there's, there's I do celebrate things. um I don't want to give this impression that that you just go through life as this automaton, you don't really feel anything. But it's that, again, not needing for things to always be just right
Mm.
according to whatever's going on here, and understanding it's never gonna fucking be just right. Rarely, rarely. If we have those moments, good for us, good for us. But again, then the next thing happens. So
Mm. Sounds to me like ac- accumulating an equal temperament. as opposed to say a compression. It sounds like being okay even when things are perhaps not okay.
Equanimity, isn't that the word?
Is that the
To
word?
put a
Yeah,
fine point on it, I think the word is equanimity. Yes.
very nice. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sophie and or Lyndon, I don't know which of you hit the digital button.
It's me this time.
Awesome.
Hello everyone. Hope you're all doing well. To be honest, I don't want to yap for too long. I know that we were. Well, I actually don't even really know what the original question was you asked, Will, but I'm guessing it was something along the lines of how our systems are treating us at the moment. Systems update.
That's it.
Yep, cool. I think it's been an interesting week or two because I think I've noticed that I have been implementing and experimenting with new systems, and that when I reflect on that, pragmatically and logically and from a distance without having any sort of like emotional or mind paradigm input, if you will, that those things are succeeding and they are actually, those systems are improving my life. Obviously things need work, but I found myself at the pub last night talking to a friend and just going on about how I just felt like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I came for a couple of drinks tonight, and I have all this stuff to do, and just everything's chaotic, and my life is always busy, and how I just never seem to get anything done. And I started showing her I think I've discussed it on here, but a couple of weeks ago, my Google Keep reorganization that I've been doing with the inbox, the now, the not now, all that sort of stuff that I've explained before, and how look, so I've got all of this to do in my not now, and I've got all of this to do in my now, and she's going, okay, but you've done all of those things though, and you are being productive, and that's you, well, you are doing these every day, right? I was like, yeah. And she's like, and she was kind of trying to explain to me, rack my head a bit, rack my brain and be like, calm the fuck down, basically, because I think the important part of this kind of system changing is the reflection element, because if you're not convinced the system's working, even if it is, what's the point? And I'm kind of coming to this realization in the last sort of day or two of I am actually improving, but I'm not perceiving it as improvement. So what's it all for? Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I just thought that was a fun little thing I'd
Hmm.
throw in. It's just a little realization I'm coming to. I don't know if that would help anybody else, but I just think the reflection of understanding what the changes you've made and evaluating how well those have worked or not worked is just as important as the changes themselves. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
It was a fantastic TED talk, and I'm gonna draw a couple of really awesome things out of this. And actually, Karen, you pointed out the reflection thing as well last week. So both of you have pointed at this, building in reflection time, which, thank you, I did on Sunday for the first time. A reflection of how did the systems work this week? What's working really well? What semi worked? What was kind of there? What just didn't even get started? Etc. etc. Didn't take long. It was really it happened very quickly. I knew it was, but that okay, and then that informs looking at the next week. Okay, well, the nature of my job, as an example, no 2 weeks look the same. So then it becomes a system of what does this week look like? What does it require in terms of organisation? Sometimes I can be more lax if there's more open space. Sometimes if work has bottlenecked, I need to be very precise, so I can dial that in. But all of that came about, or that way of playing with systems came about as a result of setting aside a bit of reflection time. So awesome. The second thing, and I absolutely view this as a system in and of itself. Who do we surround ourselves by? So what I heard in that story that you just shared, like you've got a friend there who challenged you, didn't enable you, didn't get down in the mud with you and go, I know, there's never any fucking time, right? Oh, fucking right. Now we're both fucking bitching and crying about that. Like, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm fucking not above that. I will sit in the pub after a gig and go, we don't get paid enough and blah, 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 blah. Like, and I will never feel better for it. I will always leave that interaction going, I didn't serve my bandmates. I didn't serve myself. I enabled a conversation to continue. That as a system, like keeping people around you who hold a mirror up, who challenge you, who want the best for you and will be willing to go against whatever thing you're experiencing in the moment. I can't really put into words how amazing that is to find other people like that and create those relationships and create that circle around you. That's the thing that I think makes or breaks a lot of where we go in life.
Do you know, it's interesting what, like, with what you've just said, I've just kind of had this sudden realization that, like, yes, it is absolutely the people that you choose and the people that you choose to, like, share this sort of information with. I'd say Maggie, my friend, is a really good person to go. I just said to Lyndon, he was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. She'd be really good at giving advice and kind of bringing you back down to earth. So you're absolutely right. But I think also, actually, I now reflect on the conversation I had last night. And I think that there's a difference between going in just like moaning and being like, oh, life is so hard and oh my oh woe is me and actually being like setting an intention and asking for advice. So I went to her, right, can I just talk at you about everything that's in my brain for a minute so that I can like think aloud and maybe get some of your like advice on how chaotic my brain is being right now because I can't like process. And she kind of consented to that. And so then it became me like yapping, but with like a focused direction of she knew what I wanted from her because I communicated my like expectations from the conversation before I started complaining about my life. So it wasn't just like an aimless sort of like yell into the void. It was more of like a, hey, I'm going to talk at you and then and it's going to be just a trail of thought of chaos, but hopefully we can kind of come to some sort of conclusion. And if you have any advice for me, could you give it, please? And actually, I didn't realize I was doing that until you've just talked about like finding the right people. But actually, it's not just about finding the right people. It's about having the right communication tools and setting the right intentions with that with that conversation as well.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That is the foundation of what we're talking about. Like that is practicing a system. That is using a system fucking perfectly. Even if that system is a group of people or like, that's plugging into a system and working it. Awesome.
And I think as well, just to add on to that, she did say to me at one point, well, why don't, like, you could always come to any of us, like any of your friends and kind of do this sort of thing where you call up and ask, oh, I don't know what to do. So the thing that I was saying to her was like, I left a cafe from Linden actually, having had a singular pint, and instead of going home and doing the stuff I wanted to do, I kind of just followed an impulse of like, I don't want to do the things I want to do because I'm brain foggy, but I also don't want to be alone. And I kind of just like allowed the impulse to take me. And so I called my friend and I ended up meeting her at the pub. And then suddenly I'm 4 drinks in and it's midnight and I've done nothing that I was meant to do that evening. And that's how this conversation had started. And so she said to me, well, if you're honest with me, if you actually, when you called me up, instead of being like, let's hang out, you could have been like, hey, I'm avoiding some stuff and I'm using you as a tool to avoid that. And then she could have, and then she said, and I would have gone, all right, well, let me force you to do that stuff and I'll body double you on the phone. And then we can go for a pint as a reward. And and then I realized that I have actually already started doing that in a sense because I actually was on the phone to a different friend where I was like, I had a bad mood, like some personal stuff happened and it completely like took me off track from what I was doing that day, could not focus, wasn't productive and didn't want to waste the day. So I called up a friend and was like, I'm going to talk at you for a bit and you're going to help me organize my brain so I can actually like make something with the rest of my day. And they were like, yeah, cool. And so actually the conversation I had with Meggie last night validated that actually by accident I have already kind of started doing that. And that was just the validation of my friend of I needed to hear from a friend being like, I'm willing to support you, you help me help you, and keep doing what you're doing, and but just make it more of an intentional practice. Because this is a system that's kind of slowly developing naturally without me noticing. And this is the like the noticing it and grabbing it and working with it.
Right, right.
So yeah.
Amazing, amazing. And that's it. Once you notice it, you can design it. You can play with it with intention. Awesome, love it. I've got an eye on the time. I think we're gonna hear from Sash, and then we're gonna open up this exercise. So I want to take our time with it, and share at the end of it what came up as well. Sash.
Yeah, for me, it's been a lot of reflection as well, actually. Specifically about like the winter season. I've noticed in previous years, like going into winter, I've like added a lot of pressure onto myself to have kept as busy as the summer and kind of not letting go of having a lot going on and not noticing that like actually my body is naturally goes into a rest mode during winter. Like I definitely naturally feel more tired during the winter. I struggle to like wake up in the mornings. And something over the last kind of couple of weeks is that I changed my work hours to start half an hour later so I can get more time in bed. um and I think like I had a couple of goals that I wanted to set out that hasn't, like, in some ways it has been happening, but not as much as I like intended them to happen. But I think because I've been quite unwell recently, kind of that switched turned on its head of just like actually listening to my body and giving myself enough rest and being okay that those things haven't followed through, because I may have just added too much pressure and expectations from myself during a restful period.
Mm,
And
mm,
I think I've always kind of had this like conflict internally with winter of going, no, you can't stop, don't stop, you have to keep going. You know, if you're going to lose momentum if you like slow down. And this year I'm just trying to have a bit more of awareness of that and a conscious effort to slow down and allow myself to like enjoy family time and friend time and recharge socially, and also like have a hot chocolate and watch a film and be okay with that. So, and I think over the last couple of weeks as well, I've noticed that I think me and you will have spoken about this. Is that I do a system that really works for me is just being consciously on the ball for things that can fall in my lap, then and reaching out for opportunities as they come up, instead of kind of having like time zones per week to kind of focus on getting an accomplishment done. And I had some good news. There was someone that was reaching out, wanted a composer on this WhatsApp group, and it's very like the reference was from The Substance, so like definitely the kind of music that I really love to write. And I reached out to them, and they confirmed that they wanted to work with me for January yesterday. So I think like me going like over winter is like all the things that I thought that I was supposed to be doing systems wise is like actually realizing that that isn't quite serving me, and it's more about doing the things that are in front and reaching opportunities and maintaining systems that I know that work. So like one is like my exercise routine. I'm like, okay, I'm allowed rest throughout the week, but make sure that I'm still consistently doing my exercise routine, because that's what's going to carry me through to next year, kind of thing. And eating and like the kind of simple habits for me is what's making the difference.
I love it. I love it. Plugging into the how do I put this? I don't know, the mammalian reality of like it makes perfect sense. How many mammals on planet Earth hibernate at this time of year? This expectation of no, we've conquered nature. We're different. We're apart from it. It's like no, it's fucking freezing outside. We get about 5 hours of sunlight now in the UK, short days, and I love that. It sounds like you're tuning into it and working with it, not against it.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying. I can definitely still feel a bit of conflict in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying to be okay with that as well and allowing that to just sit there.
Mm, mm. In a strange way, in response to what you've just said, like good, because it sounds like you're trying something new here. It sounds like you're going against what is perhaps a better practiced way of being.
Yeah, there's most of December normally I like work during the day and then I help my sister on her business and work events in London till like 12 o'clock at night, coming back to Brighton that same, like going to sleep at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, getting back up for work, and then like socializing. Then we normally go away across Christmas and spending time with family and presents. Whereas this year I tried to like really consciously be like, I've set a boundary with my sister. I said I can only do the Brighton events, so I'm only doing one in December, which is great. So
Mm, mm,
um, I said to Luke, I was like, I don't want to go down to Cornwall. I want to stay in Brighton for Christmas. Like, I just want to like actually relax this year and not feeling like you get back to work in January that you haven't really taken a break. So yeah, I'm trying to lean more into that and actually taking a rest.
Right, I love this. Like and I'm gonna draw this out before we move on. And you've done a lot of a lot of work, Sash, and it isn't just systems kind of work that you've done. But I see the process of shifting ways of being, but and practicing systems and viewing things as systems. We end up in this space where we kind of wake up to the fact that we can design our own life.
Mm.
And we can design a life we actually want to fucking live. And that, as far as I'm concerned, is rare. And I don't mean, my intention is not for this to come across as a better than thing. What looks true to me is that the lens of life is happening to me is a widely accepted and lived paradigm. And I'm not saying that shit doesn't happen in life, right? That is out of our control. I'm not saying that isn't a thing that happens. But in terms of taking the reins and going like, well, how do I actually want this thing to play out? How do I want things to run day to day, week to week? What do I want my Christmas to look like? What do I need this year, this Christmas? What space am I in right now? What do I want to design? What do I want to create? Like that's really powerful, and I get a really powerful sense of that from you.
Mm.
That you're really living in that space and working in that and playing with it. It's like, what do I really want? And not just think about it, not just talk about it. What needs to happen in order for that thing to be realised, to be actualised? What conversations need to happen? What boundaries need to be set up? What enrolment needs to take place?
I've definitely noticed as well that like the difference has allowed me to kind of keep on top of the things that probably would have got lost in that process by trying to keep up with like being productive versus summer, because I have more like capacity in the summer to do so many things because my energy's up and longer days, and the things that I probably wouldn't have been able to keep up with I am, because I haven't got this added layer of like stuff that I'm like doing because of that internal pressure, which is actually, although I'm not doing as much, has taken me further. So just like keeping in touch with like WhatsApp messages and helping like my community and musicians and just being like available and still like here, like connecting with people that I probably wouldn't have had like capacity to deal with if I had added all this other stuff into my winter.
Mm, mm, mm. Awesome. Awesome. Love it. Is there any more for now?
And everything. Thank you.
All right. Okie doke. You're going to need a pen and paper for this one. So if anyone needs to get up and grab a pen and paper, please do so now. I'm going to be doing this alongside, with you guys as well. I suppose the caveat to this, and I mentioned it at the top of the call, like we can create how we experience this any way we want. And so this can be a playful exploration to pull some things up. We could create it as a rod to beat ourselves with if we want to. It doesn't have to be that. It can be a way to shine a bit of light on areas of alignment or potential misalignment. And we're doing this a few weeks before the end of the program. So that we can do something about it. If there's anything that needs to be realigned or anything that needs to be shifted or changed, we've got time. We've got the system of this book club to create what we want. So I'm just going to wait for Sophie to return, and then we'll get into it.
So while we're waiting for Sophie, I'm sitting in the car and my car is moving massively. I don't know if you can tell, but the whole car is like
Is it windy?
in the wind. Oh, is it?
I can hear it outside in Brighton.
Absolutely hacking down as well, and really big gusts. Yeah, the whole car is shaking. But perhaps it doesn't look like it because it's moving. I've got you propped up on the driving steering wheel, so we're moving together. Blimey. She's still not back. We've lost Lyndon as well.
We're going to crack on. Right. So split the page down the middle. So you're going to split lengthways or vertical line down the middle of the page. And on the left hand side at the top, you're going to write the word intention. And on the right hand side, commitment. You may have come across this exercise before if you've been on group programs. If you have, I encourage you, again, as always, to do it as you are today. And it will reveal what is happening for you at this moment. So the way we're defining these, an intention versus a commitment. An intention sits in the camp of going to do. It's something that perhaps we talk about. It's perhaps something that we think about. But it's firmly something that I'm going to do it. Whereas a commitment, that is something that is in the doing camp. It is strictly something you are actively doing something about. It is a commitment. So the difference let's take guitar practice for instance, for as an example. If I intend to practice more guitar, if that is sitting in the intention side of things, it's something I might be thinking about. I would like to practice more guitar. Might be something I'm talking about to my friends, but I'm not doing anything about it. More guitar practice is not happening. It's being spoken about. There is an intention for it, but it's not being done. Whereas if guitar practice was sitting in the commitment, it's happening. There's some kind of system that's having that thing happen. It might be a 1 hour block of time every single day, but ultimately it is in the doing camp. It is already happening. And what we're going to do with this exercise, in the left hand side, we're gonna focus on that for now. Take some time to list out your intentions. What are the things that you're really wanting? Might be learn a language, might be practice more guitar, might be eat better, might be start going to the gym. But yes, we're the left hand column, the intention column. What are the things that you're saying you want, or you're thinking you want? Philip.
Just for clarification, just to understand how we're working, is the group on the left side meant to be like linearly agreeing with the one on the right side, or is it like intention, I'm going to learn a language, I'm going to fly to Mars, whatever, commitment? What did you actually do? Is like you woke up and you ate, kind of thing.
Well, that's what this exercise is going to reveal. It's what are the things you're wanting to do, wanting to create, actions that you want to take, and then in the commitments, we're going to write down the things that we are actively already doing, and then we're going to see how aligned the two are.
Right, so they're not linearly connected. It's not like going to do. I am going to learn a language. Doing. I practice the language every day. For example, they're not like.
Well, it might be. It might be if they're aligned. If what you intend is I want to learn Spanish and you are committed to learning Spanish, then you will be able to draw a line between the two.
Okay.
And then you can visually see what you say you want and what you're actively working towards. It's like, right, okay, there's alignment between these two things. If the intention list is I want to learn Spanish and it doesn't appear in the commitment list, then what it reveals is, there's a thing I want, but I'm not currently committed to it. There's an intention, but there isn't an actual palpable commitment to making the thing happen.
Okay, cool. Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah. Does that, but by a show of hands, does that make sense? What we're revealing. Awesome. So yes, let's spend some time. For now, just focus a few minutes on the intention column. So everything and anything that you think is relevant there, write it down. Okay, we'll spend about another minute on intentions, and then we'll move on. Okay. So, if we move over to the commitment list, this is stuff that you are actively doing. So you're noticing, okay, yeah, this is something that I'm wanting to have happen, and there's some degree of commitment to it. It's actively happening. You might find that it's something that you wrote on the intention list, and go, okay, cool. There's an intention I have, and actually I'm doing something about it. You might find that there are some that don't align, and that's also awesome. But yeah, spend some time on the commitments.
So just to clarify, is it like the commitment is like what you are actively doing in this exact moment for that intention? Not what you want to do or what your system could be. It's like what you're doing right now.
It's not necessarily for the intention, so we're not directly trying to match these up.
So what
It's
was the point in the intention?
sorry.
So what was the point in the intention then?
What we're wanting to reveal here is there are things that we might be thinking about doing or saying we want to do, and we may not be committed to them. There may be things that end up on the intention list, and we see, okay, there's not an active commitment. So intention being something that it's a thing I'm going to do. I want to do this thing. Commitment is I'm actively doing something about it.
You're writing. You're just on the commitment side, writing about the things that you are currently committed to, regardless of whether or not they're connected to the intentions.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
What are you currently in your day to day, week to week? What are the things that you would say I'm committed to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Cool. Okay, we're going to spend about another minute on that. Okay. So finish off any... Oh, lights just went weird there. Yeah, finish off any final bits, and then we're gonna join these things up.